It's the 21st century, and it's time for you to break free from the old ideas, the old beliefs, the old shackles that have been holding you back and keeping you bound in misery and failure. It's time to learn the truth about your power and about what's really going on in the world. Everything that you see and experience is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Nothing more, but nothing less. Learn the truth. Change your life. Change the planet. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Reality Changer Radio. I'm your host Dave Dickey, and here to enlighten, inspire, and help you not only become happier, but learn how to unleash the internal power that God has given you and everyone else. Tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to read from my new book, 30-Day Guide to Creating an Awesome Life. And in that book, there is a section where you can use it as a journal. And each day you are given a suggested technique. The techniques are described in detail in the beginning of the book. And the entire plan is designed to, day after day, week after week, guide you towards becoming stronger and happier and more aware of how you really can control your everyday life and the things that happen to you, and thereby get what you want using those same techniques and the same internal power that you have. What I'd like to read to you tonight is what is going on. And this is a free chapter that I was handing out before the book came out. And it starts off about clinical trials. Now, clinical trials, if you're not familiar with them, are what needs to happen. The FDA determines it. I'm sure there's some European organizations that require it. And these are to check to see if the drug actually has any kind of an effect. And what's important to know about this is that they do placebo studies. And a placebo, if you're not familiar with it, is something that is not what it pretends to be, but it is given to you and used by you as if it really is the thing it's supposed to be. For instance, there was a doctor in the early 1900s who did a study on patients that had warts. And what he determined was that his sugar water fix versus the actual cure for the warts was almost as effective and almost as ineffective. He found that 48% of the people he gave the fake drug to, we'll call it the fake drug, 48% of those people actually had their warts cured exactly as fast and exactly as permanent as the other people that took the real drug. But see, here's the kicker. Not everybody was healed by either the fake drug or the real drug. Okay? And just to advance your mind just a little bit before I start reading, this is all where the belief system comes into play, because some things won't happen no matter what you do because you just don't believe it. Some things happen when they shouldn't because you believe it so much. Just like the fake drug, those people believed that this was the real thing, and their desire was so strong, and their belief in the doctor and the medicine was so strong, that they made this sugar water into a cure for their warts, just using their belief system. So it hit me that unless these clinical trials and the doctors that do them had a reason to believe what was going on in the mind, they would never do this. It turns out that the medical profession has been doing this for a very long time. Why? because Western medicine cannot bear to accept the fact that primitive, natural medicine works. They have to prove that it works, but even more dramatic, they have to prove that people have healed themselves without drugs. Just like a hypochondriac can actually make themselves sick over time. Okay, so now we're playing in the big leagues. The mind can control the health of the body. In the 1970s, we spent a lot of time going gaga over people that could use their mind to move objects. The government set up remote viewing departments and even experimented with LSD and its effect on psychic powers. And for those of you that do not know what remote viewing is, it is the ability to see things from a distance by getting images in your mind. And yes, folks, it does work. I personally have done it several times and validated what my findings were by going to the person and seeing what I was seeing. Okay, so we know that some people can heal themselves as well as make themselves sick. So why don't we spend some time and money on doing just that? Well, gee, I guess if people actually learned how to heal themselves, we might not need doctors, huh? So a better idea came along, even more clinical studies, all in an effort to find out why almost 50% of the people given a fake drug were cured. Western medicine has limited its study on the mind to psychology, always assured that there is a logical answer. The rest of the world has always adopted a spiritual aspect to the mind. Do you know why you're told to quickly see a doctor after breaking a bone? Not for the obvious of something wrong. The main reason you want to get to a professional as soon as possible is because the body is already healing itself. That's right. As soon as the break occurs, the body knows that there's an issue and starts to join the pieces back together. How awesome is that? All without a doctor. And let us not forget the action that happens when viruses are in our system. The body goes to work to get rid of those also. It sends out these little enzymes called phagocytes, and they go and they battle along with the other organisms in the body and battle the issues that are at hand. And the body does this all on its own without a doctor. So why do we need doctors? Because the people who programmed you were told that's the way it is. Put a jacket on or you'll catch a cold. If you have a scratchy throat, you're probably coming down with something. And on and on. That is part of the madness. Now, I won't make any claims as to why the medical profession does not see fit to change the way it does business, but I have noticed an obvious truth. If we were to accept the fact that we can control our own health, and by doing so eliminate the need for most medicine, then we would also eliminate the need for most doctors, which in turn, listen closely, would eliminate the need for most pharmaceutical companies, which in turn would create a healthier planet. We act according to our belief systems. Our beliefs create our thoughts, which in turn create our feelings and then our reality. That spills over into our actions as children and our choices about our health as adults. Now let's take a look at some other aspects of our lives that are connected to our belief systems and the whole concept of master and slave. As a little baby, we're somewhat helpless. We need someone to feed us, give us clothes, and so on. These people that do that are our guardians, parents, grandparents, whoever it is. Now, a concept that I've not touched on is that we're all powerful spiritual beings with two main goals coming into this physical plane. The first goal is to seek happiness. The second one is to create. When we're little children and are seeking happiness, we look to those that are closest to us. Now we all know that not everyone has a happy childhood and that crap has to stop. But let's not lose sight of what we're talking about here. Seeking out the happiness from our guardians is important to us, and we learn early on that in order to get it, we need their approval. What happens next is what I call the master-slave routine. As a spiritual being inside of a physical body, we get confused in the beginning and sometimes out of control. We want food, but then we don't want that food. But we can't tell you because you don't read minds and we can't speak your language. So we cry and toss the food. That upsets our guardian. And because of their programming, they get angry and sometimes impose upon us a version of unhappiness. We cringe. And we start to learn at a very early age that if we want to be happy, we must please our guardians, masters, for we are their slaves. So we need to do what they say, think as they think, dress the way they tell us, go where they want us to go, don't go where they don't want us to go, act a certain way around certain people, don't go near certain people. And on top of all of this, we must accept their fears and failures as our own. We are taught that merely to be thankful and grateful is not enough. What would the neighbors say? In order to show that you're a good friend, you must mimic their feelings, or you don't care as much as you should. When something horrible happens, you must feel really bad, or there's something wrong with you. Are you starting to see the big picture here? You're an independent spiritual being who is perfect, and you are being forced to live an imperfect life according to someone else's version of reality. That, my friends, is madness. And then at the same time, the same people, the masters, program you for worrying and feeling bad about yourself. Well, Johnny, why can't you be more like Timmy? Are you worried about that? You should be. If you're not worried like the rest of us, there's something wrong with you. What will your grandmother think? Why can't you get better grades? The worry programming goes deep. And let me clear something up right now. Fear is not a thing. It is the result of worrying. If there was nothing to worry about, what would you have to fear? If you had a grizzly bear sitting next to you, and you knew that grizzly bears didn't eat humans, and you believed it, then there's no reason to fear a grizzly bear. But your belief system tells you that grizzly bears are dangerous. So you fear being near a grizzly bear. And you get concepts and images in your head about grizzly bears from that programming when you see pictures of them or talk about them. You are programmed to fear the result of not worrying. Because we all know if you don't have plan B, plan A will never work, right? A famous actor put it perfectly. I never think about plan B. It gets in the way of plan A. But from the time we are little, we are programmed to worry about everything our guardians worry about. Which in a very real sense, you will find some kids not doing certain things at home because their guardians don't feel it is needed. This is the same thing. Lack of knowledge is just as painful as limited belief programming, and just as damaging. And we all really know what is going on, or you wouldn't hear comments like, well, things will be better for my kids, or I want my kids to have a better life than I did. Why do people say that? Because you know you were fed crap. You refined the crap, and then you gave your kids what you considered to be a better version of the same crap. Worry about your grades, and what will the teacher say? Worry about getting your butt beat because you did not clean up your room. Worry about going to bed without supper because of some other reason. This is fear-based control and brainwashing at its finest. And don't get me wrong, everyone's doing it. They're doing what they really should do for each other as spiritual beings. We nurture and we take care of each other. But we're all doing it now with the wrong information. We're supposed to be teaching each other how to be happy and successful. We are supposed to be teaching each other how to thrive, no matter what the external world looks like. We are supposed to be helping each other gain the knowledge that we are all equally powerful spiritual beings that control reality. not mere humans that are at the mercy of fate and need to react to the external, when we are the very beings that created that external. So why, after so many generations of people who have been successful, is there still old school programming going on? You would think that rich people would want to help others become rich, right? You would think that it would be in everyone's best interest to make sure that we all thrived, right? Well, folks, this is part of the madness. The fact is, most of you have been sold a line of crap a mile long. The fact is that if all the slaves became masters, who will run the farm? There are people running around the world that profit from most people not knowing how powerful they really are. This is part of the madness. Those same people don't understand that their internal power can create anything that they want for themselves, and they don't need their slaves. That's also part of the madness. There are many conspiracy theories out there about those people, who these people are. Ask 20 people and you'll get 20 answers. However, the fact remains that we can trace the roots of the old school network of businesses that will not exist once we recognize the power inside of each of us. Those businesses have to do mainly with the medical professions and what they are connected to. Also, chemical companies that do crop dusting, and yes, even the school system, as we know it, will take a nosedive with the truth. And let us not forget, the best part of keeping people worried about each other is the ability to sell them on spying on each other. This is a major part of the madness. You see, folks, when you live your life according to how other people tell you you should live your life, then you're not really living your life for yourself, you're living it for them. Now, don't get me wrong here. I don't mean that, if I say to you, hey, if you really want to be happy, do this, and then you say, stop trying to run my life, it's not the same. I'm talking about the unconscious programming that's going on in your life every second because you don't know about it. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is slavery. Plain and simple. Ignorance is slavery. You need to become aware of what's really going on and how you got where you are. How you got where you are is by following the programming that has been instilled inside of you by people other than yourself. Now, if you're listening to this and you've gone through these changes and you've removed some blocks and you've changed some program beliefs, I salute you. But you also know that what I'm saying is true. Most people walk around day to day wondering why somebody else doing the same thing has better results, wondering why somebody else that doesn't do as much has way better results. And they go home frustrated and angry. And old school programming teaches us that, well, that other person must be doing something wrong, or they're doing something illegal, or they're getting help that I'm not getting. It's them, and never me, 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 me. The bottom line is, no matter what happens to you, it's always your fault. It's always your fault. If you've got a boss that complains to you all the time, you created it. Now, most people would say, well, I didn't create that. Well, no, you didn't, you being the ego that's talking, but subconsciously, those beliefs are in there, creating energy and creating what you might want to call a force field around you of disharmony. This force field uses the law of attraction to attract whatever it is vibrating at. And that's how the law of attraction works. Whatever energies and vibrations you are putting out there, then you're going to get more of the same thing. That's how the game is played. When you finally realize that you can change that energy without a doctor, without pharmaceuticals, without anybody other than maybe a coach, right? To just show you how, but then it's on you. Then you have to take responsibility. And here's what I always say in my emails. Once you acknowledge that you're in complete control, then comes the hard part. You have to take responsibility 100% and stop the pointing fingers and the name blaming and the whole thing. Because once you truly understand that you can control it all, then you have to understand that you're manifesting 24/7. This is why the old saying goes, shit happens. But it doesn't. This is what I'm trying to tell you, okay? And this whole thing, this is all part of the madness. People run around, they spend money, they do all kinds of things, they kill themselves. I mean, let's get real. When the stock market crashes, what's the first thing you hear? People killing themselves. Why? Because, oh my God, I'm ruined. You're not ruined. You created a setback in your life with all the worry about not having a constant flow of income. And that worry of the not having was stronger in your belief systems than the concept that everything will be fine. It's not an easy thing to teach because we're not taught that way as children. We're not brought up that way, which is why I have my Parenting for the 21st Century program. So the parents can delve into this and start at before the child is born. Creating a positive energy around the mother's womb and starting there and bringing up a consciously, deliberately creating human being, which will serve humanity way, way more than anybody out there that is trying to take you for a ride and handing you a line. Now, if any of this resonates to you and you want some more information, I strongly suggest you get my new book, 30-Day Guide to Creating an Awesome Life. What you're going to find in there is you're going to find techniques such as the happiness meditation. And this is where you recreate some happy moments. There's details on how to do it. And every time that you have an emotional setting, whether it's anger or sadness or happiness, that energy and all of that goes out into the universe and hits the law of attraction. Okay? Just like everything else. What else you're going to learn in there? You're going to learn that man-made energy is some of the easiest things to control because it's created by someone who is just as powerful as you, and you can tap into that energy. And how do I show you how to do that? By changing streetlights. Who listening to this broadcast wouldn't want to have less red lights? Or ones that just, within 10 seconds of you pulling up, bam, it's green. How awesome would that be? Los Angeles, Liverpool, London, New York, Dallas. How awesome would that be? Tokyo. How awesome would that be? Moscow. When you can control those red lights, okay? And understand that anything you do is only for you. Because no one can change you, really, without you giving them the power, you're not hurting, harming, or doing anything to anyone else when you do your techniques for you. Okay? How about controlling a conversation that hasn't started yet? This is one I used in my martial arts school when we went to get a new building. I teach you how to do that in detail. Time. I'm with Einstein. Time doesn't matter and it's malleable. I can teach you how to control time. And not the way you think. But time only matters because it matters to you. And it's an energy thought and you can control it. Okay? Techniques like this and more are in this book, and you get to practice them day after day. The book is designed to let you grow. It's a guidebook. You know, you may do one thing for a long time, and then you may do two things, and then three things, and then you change it up, because it's all designed to help you grow in your power, grow in your awareness. Wouldn't it be nice if every day you could just lay in bed for about 2 minutes and decide exactly how your day's going to go and have it go that way? Is anybody up for controlling your day when you think you got it shitty? Is anybody up for that? I teach you how. This book, the techniques that are in this book, you master these techniques, and then you can apply them together or separately to have anything you want. Because there's only a few processes at work here in the universe, and just like baking a cake, you bake vanilla, you bake chocolate, not too many different ingredients. It's still a cake. It's the same thing. So, if you're interested in getting the book, which has a bonus journal included in it, okay? So every day you get done with your stuff, and then you record, how do I feel? What happened to me? And then this way, you've got it on paper, you've got it in your hand, you can look back over, hey, you know, I did this, how did it work? Right? Or I want to do this other thing, you know, did it work all the way? Can I change this? Whatever. Okay? So right on the home page of my website, if you look to the right-hand side in the column, you're going to see an image of the book. It's a 30-day guide to creating an awesome life. You can click on the link. It'll take you right to the spot where you can purchase the book. Okay? If you would like to get some more information about the book, or if you want to be on our newsletter, you can sign up right there on the home page. If you have any questions of a personal nature that you'd like to ask me personally, feel free to write to me at realitychanger57@gmail.com. Okay? And what I strongly suggest is that you think about what I've said tonight and you take a look at what's going on around you and understand that whatever you don't like, you can change that. A few simple techniques and you can change all of it. And don't let anyone ever tell you you can't do something. The reason some people do one thing and other people can't do it, it seems like, is because two things. They've been programmed to believe that person has special skills and powers that they can't possibly have. And number two, they just don't believe they can do it. I remember years ago a guy that wanted to be a dancer and teach dancing. He didn't do it because his teacher wasn't making any money at it. Not that dance instructors don't make any money. I mean, how many dance instructors around the world make more than six figures teaching artists and stars how to dance, right? But this guy didn't do it because his instructor didn't make any money. So he allowed his instructor's reality to actually embed that programming on himself. He created a negative programming scenario in his own head based on what he saw. He believed that that wasn't going to happen. So he never did it. 20 years later, he's talking about it. He never did it. Everybody, you guys need to wake up and smell the coffee. Really, you need to wake up. It's time. Come on, everybody, wake up. Get the book, start practicing, and talk to me about your experiences. I would love to hear your experiences. And if you hate the book, let me know that too. Okay? Give me feedback. All right? Until next time, we're cutting this a little short, but deliberately. So remember, if you want the book, go to my homepage, whatyouthinkiswhatyouget.com, and right there on the front page, you'll get a link to go get the book. It can't be any easier. I didn't want to make it hard for you. I'm not gonna. Okay? So, click on the link, get the book, start practicing, and start changing your life, and start committing to yourself. You know, we're all taught to love others, but never ourselves. It's time to start loving yourself. So, until next time, I hope everybody is having an awesome life. I want you all to have an awesome life. I love you all. Good night.